Hey, what's up? Dell here. Gonna try something new. I'm gonna actually try a live video coming to you straight from the great state of North Dakota, where I'll be speaking at the State Association Fall Conference. And what we'll be talking about, artificial intelligence. So let's see, trying to figure it out. I released an article this morning, very simple article. Something that I've been thinking about is, are we building power plants too fast? Are we building power plants too fast? We're in a pretty tricky situation with the pace of artificial intelligence and other cloud-based services that are driving the demand for data center development, which then drives the demand for power. We are in an unprecedented demand for data centers, and therefore an unprecedented demand for power, with significant growth expected in the power power industry, going forward for the foreseeable future. Now, this creates some particular scenarios that we have to consider. Right now, Harvard economists just came out with a research piece that said that the U.S. economy would have only grown by 0.1% in the first half of 2025 if it wasn't for the massive investment in data centers. We also know that there's innovation that's being applied into the space. So there was one piece of research that scientists showed how to reduce the energy, create a chip that has a 90% less energy use than what the current chips are on the market. And so when you look at these things, it causes this real tricky conundrum, that we're in within the power space. So literally, somebody could come up with a technology tomorrow, again, that is for mass consumption, mass adoption, that reduces the power demands of chips by 90%. If so, we're building into the future. We're building future legacy systems today that will actually become obsolescent or less used because the power demands of these chips will decline, in theory. And we're also seeing simultaneously that if we don't have massive deployment of innovation in chip technology, which reduces the demand for data centers or power in data centers, then we risk competitiveness, innovation, and growth opportunity on the other hand. So people are in a very tricky situation at this point in time, thinking about how do we do power and how do we do data center development. Now, obviously, because the demand driven by AI is so high, these major companies are not going to stop trying to build hyperscalers, massive cloud-based services data centers, and therefore the power for demand is going to continue to increase in the short run. I don't think there's anything that we can do to stop it. But I think we do have to counsel caution of what happens if we develop, mass power. We start turning on plants that we turned off. We start, continuing to utilize and expand the use of things like water for cooling and other things, and what that does for our communities. And so it's a tricky situation. I don't have an answer, but I do think thinking future forward, we have to monitor the situation closely, because literally power demand is driven by data center demand. Data center demands will reduce the demand for power if we can improve the technology of chips that reduces the need for power and for cooling. And so the last thing I'll say about this, because I know we talked about it, but I haven't explained why this is happening. So obviously these massive data centers that we have, and I have a small one that's probably less than a half a mile away from my house in Omaha, they use, a lot of chips within each of their processing. And so thousands and thousands of these chips to use to process that one query that we put into ChatGPT. Well, obviously anybody that has a computer at home, a laptop, if you fill the back of a laptop, you see how hot that laptop gets. And that's just one chip, one computer. Imagine thousands upon thousands of those in the same place. The demand for cooling is what is causing the demand for water. The demand to power all of those is what's causing the rise in power. And so we have a lot of implications that we have to consider. And so it's just food for thought as we continue on this AI journey. So let me know what you think about power. Check out the article, really simple article. Let me know how you feel we should, approach this as developers in the future, thinking future forward to kind of manage the risk while also looking at how do we remain competitive and serve the demands in our communities for that power by these major data centers. That's all I got for you, Dr. Dell. I'm out.